Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sutton's Days. We've had a lot of questions lately in the Facebook group and in different comments on different chats about wheat berries. And can we learn a little bit more about wheat berries? I think a lot of this stems from the fact that I started saying that I am not purchasing commercially ground flour anymore. I am purchasing wheat berries because these last for 30 years plus, if stored properly. And so to me, for long-term storage, that works. Commercially ground flour on the best of days only lasts about a year before it starts to go rancid. So that doesn't work for long-term storage. But wheat berries does. And here's the really great kicker and bonus. This is so much healthier than commercially ground flour. This is what commercially ground flour wants to be when it grows up. I'm sorry, this is what it was before it was grown up, and then they, just destroyed it. It was terrible. Anyway, in order to make flour last as long as it is ground, they need to remove a lot of the essential, really good stuff out of the wheat. So if you are looking to not only increase your long-term food storage abilities, but also to increase your health benefits, this is the way to go. So we're going to be covering 4 of these today, and I thought I'd share some of that with you, okay? Because there's different types of wheat, and there's going to be some here that I do mention and some that I don't even mention, and other people I'm sure will put them in the comment section. But this will get you started, okay? So this is kind of like the starter kickoff of wheat berries, and then you can decide how far into it you want to delve. Different types of wheat. Primarily first, okay? Wheat is classified according to its growing season. So there's winter wheat, which is planted in the fall and harvested in the spring, or there's spring wheat, which is planted in the spring and harvested in the late summer or early fall. So you see these up here. Well, I don't know if you do. Let me change the camera. Mucho better. Okay, so these are spring, these are winter, okay? So that's the difference, is when they were harvested. So that's the first breakdown of classification, right? Beyond the growing season, it's further categorized by 3 different things mainly, right? Its hardness, so like here we've got hard and soft, or its color, we've got white and red, or the shape of its kernel. In the end, we're left following, basically 6 kinds of wheat, okay? So there's hard red winter, hard red spring, soft red winter, durum, hard white wheat, and soft white wheat. Whoo, right? What does that all mean? There's got to be a system to this. There is, okay? And so we're going to explain this so that you can figure out which ones work best for you, what you want to stock up the most on, and go from there. So the biggest difference between the white and the red is the amount of protein in the berries, okay? So hard red winter and hard red spring contain the highest percentages of protein, and they're most often used in things requiring size, like breads and rolls. Hard white and soft white contain the lowest percentages of protein, and they're better suited for baked goods like cakes, cookies, crackers, pastries, that kind of stuff, muffins. So that's the biggest difference right there, right? If you want an awesome loaf of bread, you're going to use the red. If you want to make really great cookies, you're going to use the white. Now, color plays a role in this too, As you can tell, the red is darker than the white. And so that's going to show up in your baking also. Your flour will be that darker color as opposed to the whiter color. Red wheat also has a stronger, I hesitate to say more bitter flavor, but nuttier, earthier, that kind of thing. It isn't a big deal for a lot of people, but if you are just now trying to, make this change to get away from Wonder Bread, okay, or to get away from what they call wheat bread that's at the stores, and you want to get the real stuff, the good stuff, the really healthy stuff, then you're probably going to want to do it really slow, okay, because and I'll explain a way to do it, but that's going to be the biggest oomph to you. Is first, the color is going to be deeper, it's going to be different, but then the taste is actually going to be different than what you're used to also, because I have yet to run across a commercially made whole wheat bread that's actually whole wheat, that doesn't have some kind of funky smell to it. It's just there's something about commercial whole wheat bread that just kind of just lets me know that no, 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 that's not it. Okay. So, the color plays a really big part in it. Um, soft red, uh, soft red winter wheat, which I do not have here, is often used for things like crackers and flatbread because, they're marketed as whole grain, so that's really good. Now, on to the next fun stuff. So one of the cool things is, hey, at least can't I just mix all of those together? Absolutely, you can. You can do that, okay? Because nutritionally speaking, there's no difference between them. They all have the same nutritional value. They all have that same amped up, oh my gosh, this is so good for you value that you don't find in commercially baked breads, right? The only real difference between these is the protein. The protein is the thing right there. So the red has the highest protein. It makes the most elastic dough, so that's why it's really good for things that are going to get a rise, right? And I don't know if you've ever seen some baking videos where they roll out the dough and then they spread the dough so to the point where you can almost look through it, right? That is what you want when you're using the red the red berries, because the higher the protein, the more likely you can do that. You're not going to be able to do that with a cookie dough because it's a different kind of bean. A lot of the questions that I've been getting lately is, do I have to buy a grain mill? Well, um, I can't say for certain. There are going to be people that tell you that they do other things. Some people use a Vitamix, which is a very high. If you're going to spend money on a Vitamix, get a grain mill. But there's the Vitamix blender or just any blender, or can I use my Ninja food processor? And the thing is that kind of you can, but here's the deal. So if you're using a food processor, you're not going to get that fine grained flour. You're not going to get all that great stuff right out of the middle. Now, if you're still working through some of your commercially ground flour and you want to start introducing this, right? Then you can use part of that, and it'll have a more cut up version of the wheat berry introduced into your breads, which is good. It's healthy because literally there's recipes for this for you to, heat it up and eat it. And it's like a hot cereal. It's supposed to be really good. Do all kinds of different things. Toss it in a salad. This stuff is so good for you. I can't begin to tell you. Okay. But a food processor just is not, it's not going to do the trick. A blender, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but blenders, when you run them, the bottom part of the blender tends to get very warm. Not the motor, I'm talking the vessel. It heats up. So those get hotter than is good for it. Now, a lot of your purists will say that, if it's not stone ground, okay, bread connoisseurs will claim that stone ground flour retains more nutrients than steel milled flour because the heat generated from the steel mills can harm some of the nutrients. I'm looking to make bread, guys. Okay, so stone ground mill or a steel mill, it doesn't matter to me. But I also don't want to risk that with a blender because a blender is going to get a lot hotter than that steel mill, and you're still not going to get that super great fine flour. So, do I think you need a mill? Yes, I do. Does it have to be a $300, $400 mill? No, it does not. I'll put some links down below to some mills that I know that are out there. I know there's kind of a shortage on them right now because guess what? The world is swirling around the bowl right now, and people are getting panicked and they're getting prepared. Kind of like we are all doing here, but we're not panicking because we've been working on being prepared, right, my friends? So we are just going to keep plugging away. A lot of people I know, including myself, have a hand mill, a manual hand crank mill. Does it take a little longer? Absolutely. Is it a little bit of a workout? Yes, it is. Do you get great flour out of it? Yes, you do. And I highly recommend them. And there's ones where you can hook your electric drill to it so that you can go a little faster if, that's what you want. So that is more affordable than your $300+ mills, but check around at the links down below and you can take a look at what's available out there. So that's if you're going to do it, I say do it right. You can do it in a coffee grinder, but again, it's not going to get as fine as the grain mill. This is not an advertisement for Palouse. I do buy from Palouse. I get them every other month. I have 12 pounds shipped to the house. I've built up quite a nice stash, and even while I'm still using it, you can also buy it on Amazon, and it's right from Palouse. So that's the really great thing. Palouse is represented in selling themselves on Amazon, and the price is the same, and the shipping is the same, and it's all a beautiful thing. So definitely try out that. I think there's more available on the Palouse site, and I'll put that down below too. But if you just want to try one here, one there, you've got Prime, hey, go for it. Okay, so how do you choose your wheat berries, right? Because that's the quandary there. Do I need to get, 400 pounds of all of this, that, and the other? No, you don't. And again, I'm just showing you these ones because that's the easiest and handiest for me to show you. I got a really great deal, I don't know, a year or two ago, when Augustin Farms, I think, had soft white wheat berries. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. They had an amazing sale on it. So literally I got a couple 100 pounds of it. But so for my monthly order, I actually bring in the other stuff so that I can compensate and build up to that same storage potential that I have with the soft white berries. But okay, so how to choose wheat berries, yay. It's actually pretty easy to determine what ones you need, So for hardiness, wheat berries, again, are categorized by hard and soft. Hard wheat berries have a high protein, soft have a lower protein, and their moisture content is different also. So I thought I'd, mention that one. The lower protein content results in less gluten, speak Lisa, which is perfect for non-yeast recipes. So if you're going to use, yeast, then definitely the red is the way to go. Not all berries are created equal, my friends. Okay, hard wheat berries are best for the yeast breads, while soft wheat berries are perfect for quick breads like banana bread, okay, which I think is a great analogy to be able to visualize what it's good for. So if you're doing a really great quick bread, you want to use the white. If you're going to use a bread that uses yeast and needs to rise, you're going to use the red. Again, the color, you have to pay attention to that. And while white wheat berries have a milder flavor than red wheat, soft white wheat is a popular choice for a pastry flour because the taste will not compete with the other flavors that go in a, cake or a pastry. And if you have a picky eater in your household, white wheat berries may be the way to go. You can experiment and try mixing them, do 50-50 and see if that gets you where you want to be, because that will cut down on that hard taste from, the hard, from the red to the white. But let's take a look at these. Okay, last, what is the difference between, we've already covered the red, and we're good there. So now what's the difference between hard white and soft white? And primarily it's the gluten content. It's how much gluten is in there. So when you're making things with the hard white, they tend to be a little bit more chewy. They've got, there's just more gluten. So there's more elasticity, whereas the soft white has less gluten. So if you are borderline there on, reducing some of the gluten, or if the recipe for what you're using, you don't want it to be chewy, you want it to be really flaky, then the soft white is what you want to go with. So I hope that this answered some of your questions, because I think it's very important to diversify what we are stocking in our pantries, what we are using, and trying to figure out better ways to make sure that we have what we need when we need it. And that's more important now than ever, really it is. I decided to do this, I don't know, it's been a couple of years now, and I've really gotten kind of hard and heavy into it because I think it's a healthier option for us, and because for long-term storage, I'm not going to have to buy flour, really. I'm just not. There are things when you're a true baker, I just don't go into all this stuff. But anyway, where they don't measure it by volume, they measure it by, not by volume, but by weight. And so you'll see a lot of recipes if you start getting into the different books and stuff, and there's a ton of them out there, you guys. I'll put it in my bread store, but there's a ton of really great books, and they talk about volume because you want to weigh it instead of volume like cup, half cup, cup and a half, whatever the case may be. But typically by volume, what I have run into and what other people have run into is that if you mill, okay, a cup of berries, then you typically will get about a cup and a half of flour out of it. And it uses the whole kit and caboodle in there, you guys, the whole thing. It once you grind it, here's another thing. Don't get it and then go grind it all up. Grind it as you need it because it really is not good after, I don't know, a couple days. So you want to grind as you go. You really do. Or if you know you're going to use up, 10 cups of flour within the next 2 days, then go ahead and grind it all at once. But for the most part, grind as you go because it won't last. This still has all the natural stuff in it. And once you grind it, you lose all of that really great nutrition and everything else in it. So don't grind it all at once. Grind it as you go. Okay. So this is dun, 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 our introduction to wheat berries. I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, I'm just doing the ones that I have on hand, you guys. You can go look at all kinds of other ones. Everyone's always talking about acorn. I am kind of budget conscious when I am stocking up. So I want to get the most bang for my buck, quite honestly. And this is the way that I'm doing it. There are specialty grains out there. There's spelt and there's acorn and there's durum, and but they tend to be a little pricier. Now I did find some rye. I was very surprised because I kind of been half-hearted looking for it. I did find some rye, and I put that in the bread shop down below too. And I'm going to get some of that and try it because we love a good rye, and so I'm going to investigate that a little bit more and see what kind of trouble I can find out and get into. But if you want to just start getting into wheat berries, this is how you do it. You pick out what you want to make and you start getting your wheat berries, you get your mill, and seriously, I don't do snobbery, okay? So if you can afford the hand crank, get the hand crank. If you can afford the motorized one, get the motorized one. They've got some industrial looking ones that look awesome. Seriously, if I had room, I'd probably have one of every single one of them, which would take away from my wheat berry budget, but they're pretty cool. So take a look at the tools, try to find a way to put it in your budget, and do it. This is just the best long-term storage item in my mind that you can put out there because you can use it for so many things. And we're going to be showing you a whole bunch of different things that you can do with them and taking you along in the process. The Home Ground series will be picking up again on Sundays for at least a couple of months until it gets too hot. Well, actually, truth be told, you guys, I'm going to be selling at the farmer's market this year our breads. And so I'm going to be bringing you along for a whole bunch of different breads and pastries and that kind of stuff. And I hope that you guys join me and maybe check out the farmer's market. Okay, until next time, everybody, go forth and wheat berry and be safe.